What do Falcons do? Rise up! Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, the NFL, Georgia Bulldogs, and in general the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician practicing in the state of Georgia, an avid Georgia Bulldog fan, avid Falcons fan, and avid Braves fan, but in general I just love sports. Today we're going to be talking about what we need from a Falcons perspective in the 2021 draft on defense, and the answer is a lot. We're going to be talking about some of the defensive stats in a future video, but let's just say they're bad. They were really bad. The largest metric that I'll go ahead and mention here is our sacks. And I've mentioned this before, but we only had 18 of those bad boys in all of 2021. We were 32nd in the league, and the next worst team had 29. So we were 11 off from the next worst team, which is really terrible and kind of drove our defense into all of the bad metrics afterwards. But things that Pro Football Focus say that we need from the NFL draft in terms of defensive players are another corner and another defensive lineman, particularly a focus on edge rusher. And again, just to recap, the picks that we have in the draft are pick number 8 overall, number 43, 58, 74, and 82. Two of those came from trades, and then we also have pick 114, 151, 190, and 213. All of those are kind of late rounds, and obviously, we'll be taking some flyers and just upside at that point. But the first 100 picks are usually the most important for the next season and hopefully for the future for the Falcons. Anyways, we're going to start off at edge and defensive line. Now, this is going to change dramatically depending on what happens ahead of us. So right now, the Jaguars are picking number 1 overall, and there's a lot of debate on are they going to take the safe pick in Aiden Hutchinson, or are they going to do something absolutely crazy and go for Trayvon Walker with the University of Georgia. I don't know who is honestly better. Trayvon is a freak athletically, and he's going to be a great player no matter who gets him. But I don't know if he's not taken number 1 overall, if he gets taken before the Falcons have a chance to get him. In the average draft position, he's going at about 8.8 right now, which would be right in line with the Falcons. It would be an excellent pick for us. Other guys, if he gets taken, who knows? Right now, Kayvon Thibodeaux is up in the air. We could potentially trade back in the first round, get some future draft capital, and maybe pick around 15 or 16. That's going to open up the door for Jordan Davis, who's a defensive freak from UGA. And same thing with Devontae Wyatt from UGA. Both of these are nose tackles who would be phenomenal bolsters to the defensive line, sitting right beside Grady Jarrett. You also have an edge rusher in George Karlaftis from Purdue, who's projected to be a top 16 pick overall. So again, these are all guys that could bolster our team and help out with QB pressures, which we also finished, unsurprisingly, 32nd in the league. And in general could lead to more sacks and more production, and again, help out our defense overall. So those are guys that could potentially go in the first round. Second round guys include Travis Jones of UConn. He's going around 41 overall. You got Nick Bonito from Oklahoma going around 49th. DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M going around 59. Drake Jackson, USC, 54th overall. Kingsley Inagbare out of South Carolina, 57. All of these guys have had great college careers and would be pretty stellar additions to the team. I don't know that any of them are going to be amazing right out the gate, but within a couple of years, I think they could be, pretty good contributors, 5-6 sack guys a year, and could play pretty decent zone defense for most of those as well in terms of the edge rushers. Now, third round guys, again, we could be looking at an edge rusher here, and we really do need to be looking at defense in general throughout the entire draft. But your third round guys include Josh Paschal from the University of Kentucky. He's going around 75 overall. Fedarian Mathis out of Alabama going 91 overall. Got to see him play in the postseason for college football, and he was an absolute beast. He'd be a great player for our team. Perrion Winfrey out of Oklahoma is another guy kind of going in that mid-third round that we could get. So all of these are great. And then just to kind of look at the fourth round, a guy that we could potentially get there, you got Matthew Butler out of Tennessee, a guy that UGA saw several times. And again, a pretty good player on their team. Neil Farrell Jr. out of LSU, another guy that we've gotten to see play against some pretty heavy competition against Alabama, and he's performed well all those times. And then Myjai Sanders is a guy out of Cincinnati who's helped bolster their defense for the last couple of years and helped to make them a playoff team this past season. So any of those guys I think would be great additions to the team. But some of them are going to be projects. The ones in the first round, all are plug-and-play starters that immediately could be Defensive Rookie Player of the Year. All of them could potentially be 10-plus sack guys, and I think that we need that tremendously in order to be competitive going forward. Looking into the secondary, and I'm going to add secondary in general because I'm not really enamored by what we have on defense in the secondary at all. Now, granted, some of our guys will look better when when our defensive line and linebackers are getting pressure on the quarterback and when they're sacking him. We didn't have that last year, and so our defense suffered a lot, and they just looked bad as a result. When the quarterback has 5-6 seconds to throw the ball, he's going to find an open guy, and you just can't do anything about that. But guys that may help us out here. So, again, it really depends on what happens ahead of us. Kyle Hamilton, who may be the best player in the draft, he's a guy that could be open for us. Derek Stingley, probably the best corner in the draft. It depends so much on what happens here. Very likely, Jacksonville is probably just looking at this. I'm looking at Pro Football Focus. They're probably going to take Aiden Hutchinson. The Lions, while I don't think they need a quarterback, they could use pretty much anybody on defense. So if they want to build for the future, they probably should take Evan O'Neal or Iquanu. Houston, literally, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. It says they need every single position. I don't know if they need quarterback because Davis Mills seemed to be a pretty decent option for them last year, but who knows what they're going to do. The Jets seem to be pretty enamored with Sauce Gardner, so he's probably going. The Giants are probably going to take some form of offensive tackle, and then I have no clue. They certainly don't need a wide receiver, but they are guys that are going to be looking for a quarterback in the future. You never know what they're going to do there. Kayvon Thibodeau may go there. And, I really think that Carolina is going to be the first team off the board taking a quarterback. So we really have a possibility of getting some of these guys that may seem like out of reach right now, but Derek Stingley is a guy there. And again, I don't think we're going to get Sauce Gardner, but that's a possibility, and he would be really good if he did get added to our team. Second round guys, somebody that I really think we're going to have a good shot at and would be a great addition to the team would be, I think it's Jalen Pitri. Out of Baylor, who had a phenomenal couple of seasons actually with the Baylor Bears. Other guys that we may take kind of in that same position around 43 overall, Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State or Roger McCreary out of Auburn. These guys were both really good at different times in the season. I caught glimpses of them periodically, and they did help bolster their defenses in key moments. Third round picks, some guys that you're looking at around safety here in corner would be Kirby Joseph out of Illinois, Nick Cross out of Maryland, he's a safety, Marcus Jones, Houston corner. Not all of these are guys are probably going to be projects that need to sit behind A.J. Terrell and Hayward. And again, we're not expecting these guys to potentially be plug-and-play immediate contributors, but over the course of a couple of years, I would expect them to get better, much like A.J. Terrell had a bad first season and a phenomenal shutdown corner second season. Other guys to look at in the fourth and fifth rounds here, Cam Taylor Britt out of Nebraska, Josh Jobe out of Alabama. Pretty much any player out of Alabama is going to have a great pedigree. I hate to admit it, but they do have some of the biggest defensive players in the NFL right now. And then in the fifth round, Mario Goodrich, another guy, corner, who might be good down the stretch here. But again, who knows what we're going to do? Those are the guys that I think we probably have the best shot at. And honestly, we probably should take. So again, just to recap from my last video on offense, in the third round, I think we need to start looking at a wide receiver. I'm okay with taking a game-breaking tackle or guard at any point in the draft if it's available. But really, this needs to be a defensive-focused draft, and we need to finally, after years and years and years of avoiding and not bolstering the position, go for that solid edge rusher, the guy who's going to get the sacks and bolster that pitiful, god-awful 18-sack defense and turn it into even a middle-of-the-road one. If we can even double our sacks from last year, that will put us in the top 16 teams overall. Getting more quarterback pressures will help our defensive secondary. It's going to help our linebackers. If we can win at the line of scrimmage and if we can get pressure on these guys, we have a chance to actually be good. Now, I still think no matter what we do in the draft, we're not going to put up the offensive points this year. It's going to be a rough year no matter what we do. And we're probably going to get beaten in a lot of close games this year. I kind of hope that happens because I'm counting on next year's draft for a quarterback. But again, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I thank you so much for watching the video. It means a lot to me. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button and consider subscribing to the channel. It's really going to help us grow. But until the next time, rise up.